Hello and welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. We've got a whole lot on the show, on the program this morning, where we'll be looking at Nigerian sports, the sporting story. We just ended the Paris Olympic Games. We are still looking at so many events, but on the show, we'll be looking at one particular a coach that did so well at the Paris Olympic Games and other story on the show. All right, let's begin from the NBBF, Nigerian Basketball Federation, where led by Musa Kida, the Musa Kida board, where they are on cloud nine, happy for her exploits and for everything she has done with the D Tigress so far. And coming in from the NBBF, Musa Kida led board, yes, that coach Rena Wakama will remain as the Tigress coach. Yes, we know when she came on board, a lot of criticisms for her, but she has proven every critic's wrong by doing exploit with the girls, with the ladies. She won the Afro basketball title on the soil of the continent of Africa, becoming the first woman coach to actually do that. An area that men has dominated for so long, and winning that title became the fourth title for Nigeria, and she did that without losing a game during the 2023 Afro Basketball. She was formerly a D Tigress player. She was there with the D Tigress team before she became a coach, just 32 years of age, and she became the first African women coach to get to the Olympics quarterfinal in basketball event, male or female. She took the D Tigress, becoming the first team to get to the basketball quarterfinal. A lot that she has done in space of 1 year with the D Tigress of Nigeria. She has actually written her name with gold. She has written her name with a golden pen, and that is why the NFF board, led by Musa Kida, deem it fit that she continues as the D Tigress coach. Yes, let's give her time. In 2 years from now, the D Tigress will become a fear factor when it comes to women's basketball on the continent and even at the world stage. And if she's still with the D Tigress going to the next Olympics in Los Angeles, America, that is her base. That is where she grew up from. She grew up in America. So going as if she's going back home. If she's still with the D Tigress, I bet you, and I believe with support, the D Tigress will maybe come back with a gold this time around in Los Angeles 2028, and she will be there. I have on the show joining me Dan Amansika to look at this and another story on 360 Sports this morning. Dan, welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. Well, we're looking at Coach Rena Wakama. NBBF has deemed it fit that she continues as the D Tigress coach, which is a welcome development.
All right, thank you. Good morning, viewers, and thank you for having me on the show this morning. It's quite a very welcome development. Very obviously that he who has done much should be actually given to him or her. This is a clear manifestation of hard work. She has paid her dues. She did very well. We all knew that in Kigali, where in 2023 she won the Afro Basketball Championship for Nigeria. She went as far as equally qualifying the D Tigress for the Commonwealth, the Olympics itself now. And here we are celebrating her. She was voted the best coach of the tournament as far as the female category is concerned. But the truth of it is, irrespective of what she was given, it still remains that team is still work in progress. But the fact remains that our own who has done so well, and everybody is actually applauding her efforts. The Musa Kida led Nigerian Basketball Federation actually have done well by giving her an extension of contract. We want to see a lot of improvement, especially in terms of welfare for these athletes, because that is where the issues lies. And I want to believe that competition for the next Olympic will be very stiff, because despite the fact that we've seen Nigeria did so well, this team is a mixture of old and new players. It's a mixture of experienced and inexperienced players, and she's been able to knock them together to a winning side. So I think all eyes will be on this team. It's no more going to be a rookie team any longer. Any team taking on this team, whether within the continent or outside the continent, will be taking Nigeria very seriously. So that tag of surprise, because even in the group stages at the Olympics, nobody actually took Nigeria as one of the teams that would have given the kind of shock that they eventually did. So I think it's a welcome development that our contract has been extended. My hope and prayer is that this new confidence that has been reposed on her should not make her to relax. She should still put in her best, do the good work, and before we know it, maybe one day, even if it's not a gold medal, but at least we must be able to have a podium finish at the Olympics or major international events.
Okay, having a podium finish at major international event, and definitely we are looking forward to Coach Rena Wakama to still be with the girls when the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics comes calling. And before them, there are other competitions. With what she has done so far with this team, we believe it's a sign of good teams to come for the D Tigers. Like I said, they won the Afro Basket title without losing a game, and they went on to qualify for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. They defeated top countries on the continent of Africa. They defeated Senegal, and though they lost to Belgium, but already they've already picked the qualification ticket. And now coming in from the MBBF board led by Musa Kida, yes, it's a welcome development by extending her contract, making her to remain with the D Tigress, because to me, if they have changed her, then it would have been another issue. So it's a smart one coming in from the MBBF, leaving Coach Rena Wakama to remain with the D Tigress of Nigeria. All right, moving ahead on the show, let's look at this story coming in from the NFF. 23 months after coming on board, finally, just because of some unforeseen circumstances, now we're having a new sponsor with the NFF who have they've signed a new contract deal with a premium bank to sponsor all of the national teams of Nigeria, the Super Eagles, the Super Falcons, and they are the official bank of the Nigerian Football Federation. Definitely, when Ibrahim Musa Gusau came on board, we were expecting to get maybe new sponsors, new deals for the NFF, but it took them 23 months to actually get the first body, the first contract to be signed, the first sponsor with the NFF done.
Thank you so much. This is a very welcome development. I remember vividly that we've actually been on this show and elsewhere been calling for corporate Nigerians to come into sports sponsorship. There is no way the government can do it all alone. So I think the NFF has done well, because let's be very frank and very, very factual here. It is not always an easy task getting sponsors to come and embark on sponsorship deals. And besides, it takes a lot behind the scene activities to really get two parties to sign contracts for sponsorship. So what we have seen actually is just eventually the manifestation of what actually has been taking place, maybe for a while before you see the fullness of what has happened. It's quite a very welcome development, just like we've equally been clamoring for. We want to see a lot of corporate Nigeria come into sports sponsorship. We're seeing where government does the little they can, but what government is putting is like a drop in the ocean, and it can't be able to facilitate and sponsor or take sport to the next level. If you really want sport to really make impact in Nigeria, corporate Nigeria must come in. And then that equally brings us to mind that the enabling economic environment must be created for corporate Nigeria to strive. If they strive, then of course they can be able to give back to society. So those it has more or less like a multiplier effect on the society. If the economy is booming, if things are going on well, then of course corporate Nigeria will also do all it can to see that it supports sports. But again, this is a very welcome development, because the NFF been verified of recent because of the coaching logjam that it has found itself. We are seeing a situation where they have been able to at least pull a fast one, whereby they are able to bring something to the table. And I think it's something commendable, because let's see how it spans out. Now we're talking about hiring a coach. Let's see how fast this sponsorship they can translate to bringing in what we call hanging fruit development to sport development, where we can have immediate impact, especially in the area of hiring a coach for Nigeria, and see how we prosecute our games and how it will impact on other aspects of the football administration in the country. But again, I always keep on saying this. It's one thing to sign deals, it's another thing to implement it. We saw what happened in the Nigerian Premier League, which I am privy to, because I discovered vividly that Clubs signed contracts, and of course, they were told that they'll be giving some specific amount of money to kickstart the league. But eventually, each club was just giving just a token of 20 million naira. And you and I know that I keep on saying it here. Nobody can refute that fact. These are irrefutable facts that I have at my disposal. No club in Nigeria that played the Premier League could have spent less than 100 million naira to prosecute the season. If really, you really, I mean, some spent much more than that, and yet they were not afloat. But the sponsorship package was just about 20 million naira. And even in the 20 million naira, 10 million naira was eventually retrieved from this club site by a commercial bank. These are facts I'm having. So it's not as if we don't know what we're doing. But again, sometimes we just keep quiet and just allow things to roll by. Otherwise, it's one thing to have sponsorship. Let us have the details of the sponsorship. Who is getting what? Who is not getting what? What is going to where? Super Eagles package in the deal. What is it worth? Flying Eagles, what is it worth? What developmental packages, what is it worth? When FIFA give grants, they break it down. So let us have this sponsorship deal and break it down so that Nigerians will be able to ask questions when the company or perhaps the NFF is not doing the right thing.
Okay, talking about the deal, that's what is involved in that deal is a 3 million naira, 300 million naira, beg your pardon, contract, and every year in space of 4 years, because the deal will span 4 years, and there's going to be a 10% increment for the next every year for the next 4 years of that particular deal, that particular contract. And it's also going to involve, like you mentioned, the developmental aspect of it, harnessing talent from the grassroots. And like the MD of the bank actually opined, is a way of also helping the government and also getting the youth off the street and see how far they can go. Football is one unifying factor in this country, and that is why they decided to partner to come into that sponsorship deal with the Nigerian Football Federation. So 10% increment every year in space of 4 years of this contract. 300 million naira is what that contract worth, and that is the total amount of that deal. Now let's leave the shores of Nigeria, go straight to the continent, talk some continental football, where we know that it is the resumption of continental engagement, and though it is what it is here in Nigeria, but the good news for Academy Warriors, we know they will be playing against a Nigerian club side, that is the JFC. And that game between them and Academy Warriors has been rescheduled. That game was supposed to go down here at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, but it has been moved to Ikenne Stadium, Remo Star Stadium in Ikenne, Ogun State. That game was supposed to be played on the 18th of August, Sunday, but it has been moved forward to the 16th. And Academy Warriors, they've just recently been boosted by the state government with that motivation of 35 point something million naira that has been injected to this team. Then I think at least it's going to go a long way for this team, because motivation is the key when you want to get results.
Well, let's situate it within the right context. The 35.2 million naira was actually what I call a thank you gift by the state government to the players for winning the FA Cup, or the President Cup as it's now known. It's not actually a motivation for the continental engagement. The most worrying aspect of it is this. It's not about whether the team is being motivated or not, but the question is, are we saying that El Kanemi, who hails from the northeastern part of the country, there is no single stadium in the whole of Northeast that can host El Kanemi matches? That speaks a lot of volumes about the facilities we're talking about in Nigeria. There is no single stadium in the whole North Central that can be able to be fit enough to host El Kanemi matches. They have to now go to a private facilities at Ikenne in Ogun State, where Remo Star actually built. These are the issues we keep on shouting every now and then. And the question is, I have never believed in tokenism. If you want to really motivate the team through structures, set up structures. When you put up structures, you get the best of everything you are doing. Otherwise, if we keep on thinking that we just throw money at problems, that will not solve a problem. Man, you believe that this team was playing in the lower tiers of the league, and you know there is every possibility this team could be promoted to the Premier League. They've been promoted. Where are they going to play their home grounds? That is the question. We don't ask the critical questions in this country most times. That is why we're having issues. We always look at things from the surface, and we keep on asking ourselves that we're making mistakes. What kind of mistakes are we making? We are talking about a team now who is going to play a match in Amosu Abiola Stadium, which is our national stadium, for crying out loud. I don't understand what is going on. Are we saying our national stadium cannot hold an ordinary CAF competition? Is it as bad as that? I think it's as bad as that. Whose responsibility is it to fix it? I mean, this is a very serious issue. When we look at these things, I mean, this is a national platform, for crying out loud. I feel so bad and I feel so sad. At my age, I feel there are certain things I should not be seeing again at this time, because I have outgrown this level in our developmental strides. How are we going to be talking about a state that has splashed 35.2 million on players for winning FA Cup, but do not deem it fit that they have to play their continental matches either at home or in a nearby state? They are not even thinking of okay, what is the cost of flying this team from from Maiduguri to Abuja down to Lagos. These are the issues we should be talking about. Who is asking this question I'm raising now? Nobody is saying this. We are raising these are the critical issues. Until you raise these critical issues and I raise them, we keep on playing and being sycophantic to the people in authority. El Kanemi administrator, people should be told in clear terms that this team, if they want it to just not do well in the continent, mark you, go and write it down. I can say it categorically. This team might find it difficult to survive in the continent if they continue in this tragedy. Because the truth of it is, you need to have the home support to go far in competitions. And again, it enhances your sport facilities. You want to play all your matches away from home. How far will you go in a competition of this magnitude? The question is that what is wrong in pumping money, in ensuring that, because this thing does not come upon them overnight. There have been a process. This team was playing the league, and they know that it's a process. I keep on shouting this everywhere I go, that nobody, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And that is what is happening. So we're talking about 35 point something million for winning FA. Okay, they've won the FA now. Now they're going to be playing in Remo. Those who do the logistic that will take this thing to Remo, do you know what it will cost the team? So these are the questions. We must answer them. We don't have to shy away from this thing.
Okay, we don't have to shy away from it. CAF deemed Abuja National Stadium, the national stadium here in Abuja, that is the MKO Abiola National Stadium, not fit to host the Academy Warrior Games. That is why it was moved, and two stadium was at least given the green light to host a continental engagement in Nigeria, that of Uyo, and where the Enugu Rangers will be using that of Uyo, and then Ikene, Remo Stars will also use their own stadium in Ikene alongside Academy Warriors that will be playing in the continent. All right, still talking about continental engagement, but this time around, let's come back to the region, that is the West African region, WAFU-B, CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers. In today's game, big one for Edo Queens. It's a game they have to win, definitely either win or get a draw to remain at the top of the table and pick that ticket from the region. Edo Queens will be playing Hasaka's ladies to pick the CAF Women's Champions League after they beat their opponent in their match they won 5-0. It ended in their match they won, and we are going to be seeing them against Hasaka's ladies. Hasaka's ladies played their first game on a draw note, so they need a win, while Edo Queens also need a win to pick the maximum 6 points. And Hasaka's ladies have been talking tough ahead of this canter that will be coming up tonight right there in Yamoussoukro, Cote d'Ivoire.
Well, I think as far as African football, female football is concerned, Nigeria is a powerhouse. And we will still believe that somehow, get a desired result. Even if it's a draw, now we lost, we'll be able to get it. But the most important thing here is the Nigerian female scene has actually been doing so well. But again, Edo Queens, Bayelsa United, talking about Rivers Angel, though the Rivers Angels have been on the decline sometime. But again, I want to believe that they will sort out themselves. The female football generally in Nigeria is actually coming up. So tonight, let us pray and hope that the girls from Edo will do the state and the nation proud, because they have all it takes to actually do well. The motivation is there, and I want to believe all that they need to do is let them stay focused and do all they can to see that they need just 3 points. Let them not begin to play with the mindset of getting the draw. Go all out there with the mindset of winning the match. Then I'm sure you get something positive out of it. Because if you go out of this continent and play defensive football, African football being what it is, sometimes you might be surprised with the kind of results you get. But I hope with the precedent and the pedigree of Nigerian female football, I want to believe that we might be getting something out of this match.
Okay, they might be getting something positive out of this game against Asaka's ladies of Ghana. So it's a really tight one. They got their first game on a very bright note, winning that game 5-0, and now they are playing Hasaka's ladies to see is a battle of supremacy who tops the table and who picks the ticket from the region to the CAF Women's Champions League. After now, the top the two teams from the two group will face each other at least to pick the sole ticket to the Women's Champions League that will be coming up later on in the year. Rivers Angels were the first team to represent the region and Nigeria in the CAF Women's Champions League. They didn't do well, and then we have Delta Queens who went there, also didn't give us a good representation. Bayelsa Queens they came back with the bronze. They came back with the bronze, playing the third place match, and now we're having Edo Queens who want to see if they can also go and probably this time around winning that CAF Women's Champions League title. Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa, that's Mamelodi Sundowns ladies, were the first team to win the title, and they are still the defending champions. All right, let's leave that story and come back home, talk MPF this time around, still on football issue, but we're talking about one coach who is with one team in the Southwest, that is Kennedy Boboye, as he eyes the MPFL title with Sunshine Stars of Akure, an experienced coach, a coach who has coached a lot of MPFL clubs in Nigeria, and now he is looking forward to see the new season, the 2024-2025 season, how he can wrestle the title away from Enugu Rangers and make Sunshine Stars winner boys, the winner of the league at the end of the season in 2025. Then I think Kennedy Boboye is one fantastic coach, a coach who knows his onions in the Nigerian Football League.
You're absolutely correct, and I think I agree with you. Kennedy Boboye, 50 years of age, such a wonderful man, and I think he has coached some of the biggest clubs in Nigeria. Remember, he's a journeyman, I must say, but again, he's a title-winning coach. So those are the facts about Kennedy Boboye. He started actually out there with the same Sunshine Stars in 2015, and transversed from 2015. He went to Abia Warriors around that same period, 2015, 2016, and then went up north here, came up north here when he was with Plateau United. I think they had a very glorious relationship. And from there back, he went back to South, where he went to Aqua United. He has coached Remo Stars. He has coached quite a number of teams. And the last work did not really work out well for him when he was at Heartland. That was the last job he did. Although it was on a rescue mission, but again, he didn't spine out that way. But typical of us, Heartland has found his way back to the league. Well, that is how it works here in Nigeria. So there is no big deal about certain things. When it happens, it happens.
Yes.
We might not hear them elsewhere, but it happens here. I think with the Sunshine Star, this is like his second missionary journey to Sunshine Star. And I strongly believe that all things being equal, he will be able to give them a very good standing in the league. Well, whether we win the league or not is what I can't say. But to say I'm very, very, very hopeful that he will give them a very good position in the league, because he has been a very veteran coach in the real sense of it. He knows the terrain very well. And in Nigeria, murky waters, you need to know the terrain. So play, if it comes to the dirty ponds, you play the dirty. If it comes to play clean, you play clean. And I remember saying something in this show one day. I said, I'm looking forward to seeing more ex-international, more ex-established coaches come into the EPL. And I'm beginning to see that gradually we are seeing that happening. So it's going to be a wonderful experience we are going to see this season. Kenneth Boboye back to base. After 2015, he was there, almost 9 solid years after he's back there. So let's see what it's come to. But whether he's going to win the league or not, it goes, to a large extent, it's not only within his own purview to do that. Because it all depends on the support he will receive from Ondo State governments.
Okay, all the support he would receive from Ondo State government. In 2017, he won the MPFL title with Plateau United alongside Ajiboye. If you remember that goalkeeper Ajiboye, Nigeria under 17, when we beat Spain in the final under coach, the late coach Yemi Teller. All right, let's stay talking MPFL. Let's also talk about another young coach in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Since he came on board, this team has stayed 3 years in the Nigerian Premier Football League ever since they got promoted from the Nigerian National League, and he has been with them from the onset. That is talking about Coach Daniel Ogumodede of Remo Stars, where he actually extended his contract with the club, with the Kenya-based club, and he is happy doing that, staying with the team. And since they came on board, this is the the second season back to back they will be playing on the continent. But for Coach Ogumodede, he actually deemed it fit to remain with Remo Stars, extending that contract for another season thereabout.
Actually, his 3 year season is going there for. It's a 3 year contract. Yeah, just right. What that implies is this: continuity. Continuity is very important in achieving success. Like you rightly said, back to back is back to the continent. What does that tell us? It tells us that there is consistency, there is stability in that team. All we need to now be praying for is that let the cash keep flowing, let the policies be consistent. Then we begin to see that Remo Stars one day will rule Africa. It's just a question of time. We saw Mamelodi Sundown of South Africa. This is how it started. When it started, nobody took them serious, but eventually, because there was consistency in players, at some point, the Bafana team is not dominated by players from the same team. And so, if Remo Stars will become the Mamelodi Sundown of South Africa and Nigeria, well be it, because what is important is we want to see a team who can be able to really pay coaches very well, be able to retain such coaches, not just coaches that will be signed on 1 year contracts, and maybe midway into the season, if the weather is not too favorable, those coaches are kicked out. We want to see coaches who have long-term contract, where their minds will be at rest, at peace, so that they can give their very best. Because if you have, for instance, now, I'm not calling out my friend and one of my very good friends. I'm talking of Coach Ladan Boso, the president of Nigeria Coaches. But the truth of the matter is that he has a very short contract with Bayelsa United. And let me say it publicly, somebody like Samson CSA, who incidentally is from Bayelsa, is waiting on the wings. His suspension will be expiring this month. If anything goes wrong with his coaching abilities in Bayelsa United, such people knows that somebody is there on the wing waiting to step in. And such coach will be working under intense pressure. He will not have a stable mind to really give in the very best. So short-term contract is not good enough. I don't think it is the proper thing. Except maybe on a rescue mission, then you are drafted into a team to do that rescue mission. But on a very fresh league season, you need to be given at least minimum of a 2-year contract.
Okay, minimum of a 2-year contract. Let's stay with the FPL first. We know that the season is fast approaching. The new season is fast approaching. On the 31st has been set aside as the kickoff date for the Nigerian Premier Football League with just one game. Enugu Rangers against Ekenemi Warriors will open the season, and every that fixture will come up the following weekend. But then which area do you want the organizers of the Nigerian Premier Football League to improve upon for the incoming season, and what are your expectations? What do you expect to see? Where are we to get it right? Last season we tried. Yes, the organization was better a little bit to an extent, but we need more improvement.
Well, that is an area that was always room for improvement, because there is in human endeavors we always have cause to improve, and it constantly continues to improve and improve. One of the key areas we need to improve is the area of facilities. I keep on saying facilities because some of these players are quite talented, but when they are playing in some toughs that are not too good, they are prone to injury. So we have to guide them against these incidents. Then, more importantly, medical facilities at our match venues. Very, very important. I have had cause to go to some some match centers. I must say that it's quite appalling. So we'll have to guide against it. It's not when there is tragedy, so to say, before we begin to run and begin to cry out. No. There are things that are preventive in nature, so let us try as much as possible. Any team that is participating in the league must have the basic necessary life-saving facilities at match venues. Then, more importantly, as a journalist, I must say that camera-friendly stands in our stadia. Very important.
Yes, of course. Okay, those are the area I believe Legbele Yanko will actually listen to that and make sure we see all of this improvement. Like you mentioned, especially the medical aspect, we need to have a first grade, a grade A medical facility at match venues. We can recall a lot of incidents. If we cannot forget in a hurry what happened to that Nasarawa United player that slumped on the field of play. and passed away. So a whole lot we can avoid all of this by getting, if I believe the league organizers, before the league kickoff, will still have some weeks. Make sure all clubs, all the 20 clubs who are participating in the league, have their medical facilities, standard one, not just those who went to learn how to do, maybe learn how to sell some drugs from a chemist, and then you call them medical personnel, maybe medical aid to teams. No, we want those who actually went to read sports medicine and what have you, who are into the field, and then we can, at least we can start from there, and we'll get it right. And also facilities. Our stadium should be television friendly. We should get good stadia, improve on all of these. We can say yes, the Nigerian Premier Football League has arrived. We remember in the 90s, late 80s, early 80s, late 90s, the Nigerian Premier Football League used to be one of the best leagues in Africa. I remember then my dad, we used to watch Julius Berger team together, going to match venue in Lagos. Surulere Stadium in Lagos has been, Onikon Stadium, packed full. Whenever the teams from the east, especially Enugu Rangers, you know that yes, the league is happening. But we've over the years, we've not been seeing all of this in the Nigerian Premier Football League. We can still get it right and get it better. All right, we will go for a video break. Let's just have some highlights of Edo Queens, who will be in action today against Hasaka Ladies in the CAF Women's Wafubi Champions League qualification. Let's just enjoy some highlights of Edo Queens, that is the Nigerian Women's Football League champions.
Goal for today's game for the Edo Queens is Ichiomo Zoma, who returns into the starting lineup as the #1 choice goalkeeper for today's game. Ambos seen by the center referee, which will be advantage River Rangers way from the right reverse angle.
Follow run shot, comfort. Olisa Chioma, Moses Chioma.
Punched out by goalkeeper, lost to the best ball punched.
Siri Kafayat.
They can run with Aberdeen.
Aberdeen Suliat. Goodness.
Good ball swings in. And it's a big error from goalkeeper. They have a big repair this time from the goalkeeper error. It was on the goalkeeper of the conference square that makes that kind of mistake. And you can see that big celebration from the centre back. Not so unusual to score a goal, but this time around, she's scoring a very much needed goal. Alexandra Florence, of all people. Wonderful strike there from the centre back to open the scoring of this game to put River Rangers in front. She put River Rangers in front in this game inside 9 minutes. The centre back is showing her quality with that goal. But it's a big blunder by goalkeeper. It's a horrible show by goalkeeper. A costly one. To come forward to attack more and do the magic and makes a difference. A goal surely should be enough for them for their first 3 points of his NWFL Premiership Super 6, but each time it's a turn of Edo Queens to come forward. Goodness Azigwe. Good ball swings in. Show there by goalkeeper, who surely blames herself for that horrible mistake made. Good ball lays forward now for another opportunity. She should do better this time. A big opportunity for River Rangers. It's another blunder from the defenders of the Edo Queens. Oh my glorious God. They're having a reverse case, which happened against Conference Queen. They're giving it a replica for River Rangers to have a joyful day. Another blunder show there by the centre back of the Edo Queens. It's an own goal. They're attacking.
All right, welcome back from that video break. It was a game between River Rangers and Edo Queens. At the end of that game, it actually ended on a 2-2 draw. That was what gave the Edo Queens an edge to actually win the Nigerian Women's Football League. But it's a good one. Edo Queens are representing us at the CAF Women's Champions League qualification from the region, that is the Wafubi, West African region, and we hope and pray they get the ticket to represent the region and represent Nigeria at the CAF Champions League proper. If they can get the maximum win today, then they have one step they still have another hurdle to cross because they are going to play the top team in Group A to pick the sole ticket from the region. Good one, Coach White Ogbonda was with Rivers Angels, but that coach has switched over to Bayelsa Queens as we speak. All right, let's move straight to Europe and look at some stories, transfer story precisely in Europe. And you know how we do it on the show. We talk about Nigerian players who are also making their move from one club to the other. But let's talk about one Super Eagles player, forgotten Super Eagles player. I can permit me to use that, but thank God he's trying to revive his career, come back to the scene. The last play he played was in Portugal. We're talking about Kelechi Nwankale, who just signed for Barnsley, and he's talking ahead of his playing time with Barnsley. Nwankale ready to impress at Barnsley, a championship side in the English football club matters. Dan, for Kelechi Nwankale, he's one fantastic player. We thought he was going to replace JJ Okocha, despite he has the skills, but the dribbling skills is not there, but he has the eyes for passes. He's a very good passer of the ball. We thought we've seen somebody who could at least step into the shoes of Mikel Obi and Austin JJ Okocha in the Super Eagles. But, well, it is what it is. Some of these slight issues we know with players. He couldn't pin down his position with the Super Eagles. He has had quite some good time with the Super Eagles before now.
Yeah, I guess he played over about 4 times or so for Nigeria. When he got that break to Arsenal, we all thought that we've gotten another jewel in the savannah. But again, sometimes it is a wish that we wished for him and for our country, but it didn't materialize. He couldn't tie down his shirt for a regular shirt in Arsenal, so he started on this low spree. He was going from one club to the other, and eventually ended up in a league. In fact, in the lower rug of the Portuguese league, in the real sense of it, which was not actually very comfortable for us. Luckily enough, he has gotten another opportunity, what we call a lifesaver, so to say, to come back to the League One, which is actually as strong as some European leagues in the real sense of it. So with this opportunity he has now, at 26, I think he should be able to do something with his life and do something to pull himself back to reckoning, because it's possible. We've seen players from the League One, the Championship, play so well. Before you end at the end of the league season, they get snapped up by the EPL club side. And he's not somebody who is not known. It's not an unknown quantity in the EPL, because he actually was signed originally by Arsenal. Just that he couldn't really tie down a shirt in Arsenal. But now that he has another opportunity to going back to England, I think his second missionary journey to England should be able to be very more profitable, not just to him, but perhaps to the nation. Because I think we need a lot of midfielders in our national team, and that is one of the major areas that I think we've been actually struggling as a team. So if he can reenact the past form that made him to be called up to the national team, and by seeing him play well in the championship, maybe somehow we should be able to see Kelechi Nwankale back on his best. Although he's one of the talents that have not really lived up to the full billing since he started his football career.
Yes, he's one of the talent that have not actually lived up to his billing, and we wish him well with Barnsley in the English football. And like he said he's ready to impress at Barnsley. We wish you Kelechi Nwankale well, at least once he's back on his feet, back very well to where he used to be, because he's a talented player. If you remember, the under-17 team that actually won the FIFA Under-17 World Cup for Nigeria was fantastic for Nigeria. The Nwankale brothers. He also has a brother that is playing football. Both of them started in England. The other brother was playing for Tottenham before he was also loaned out to Germany. So a lot of loan. Now he's back to England, where he started his career from. So let's see what Kelechi Nwankale will do with Barnsley. All right, still talking transfers. Now let's go to the English Premier League. Looking at this player who's also has been on the transfer news, but no move yet. That is Brentford Ivan and now Brentford has come out to put a price tag of £60 million on Ivan Toney. The likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal at some point are all looking at the way of this fantastic striker. Any day, anytime, you're sure of getting 20 goals from Ivan Toney. So now 60 million price tag. If you want to get him, Brentford say cough out 60 million pounds.
Well, I think it's football business at play here. Remember, this same player was valued at almost 100 million pounds at the beginning of this year, January. So, and the sad thing here is this: if they fail to sell now, and God forbid, if they don't really pull it through, he just has one more season left in his contract. He'll walk away a free man, and I think they will have next to nothing to gain from it. So I think they need to really sit down and look at this critically if they are going to do business or perhaps they want him out as a free agent. It all depends on what they want. But again, from the sporting perspective, they might just want to see him come into the team and maybe save them from maybe blushes in the EPL. Who knows? Because Brentford is a team that is actually not so threatening per se. It's not a team that is ambitious. So, but if they are to do business, I think football-wise, I think it's not a bad deal. If anybody is willing to fork out about 60 million pounds at this time, it's going to be difficult. But then, who knows? Within England, I don't think it's getting a little bit late to do that.
Okay, if any team is actually willing to cough out 60 million pounds for Brentford striker Ivan Toney, coughing out that money, well, let's see, clubs like Manchester United, Chelsea, I think they have that financial power, but they will want to weigh their options in actually rolling out that kind of amount for Ivan Toney. Still talking transfer on the show. Let's go straight to the London side in England. Arsenal goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale is on the radar of Ajax. They are actually targeting. These two teams know how to do business. Arsenal just got a goalkeeper from there. Now they also want to go for Aaron Ramsdale, who lost his place to Raya, and Raya is Arsenal number one's goalkeeper. I think if I am Aaron Ramsdale, Dan, if definitely this deal goes through as Ajax is showing interest, I think you should welcome it and go to Eredivisie in the Dutch league.
I don't have anything to add to what you have just said. You have summarized it. If I were in his position, just like you rightly said, I think it's a life. It's a lifeline, so to say. So why don't you just go take a gamble and go back there and see if you can be able to rekindle your career again? I mean, there's nothing really much to say than to just agree with what you just said.
Okay, now let's take this last one on the show. We're looking at N'Golo Kante. Now we'll look at N'Golo Kante. He was a very good player with Chelsea, and so many we were surprised when he left England for Saudi League, where the money is right now. For a very quiet player, he does his business on the pitch of play. But now Al Ittihad is ready to sell N'Golo Kante. West Ham at some point proposed a £20 million proposal for him, but it was rejected by Al Ittihad. They wanted to bring him back to London to the EPL. But for N'Golo Kante, I think he showed what he can do. The just concluded Euro 2024, where we saw winning the man of the match back to back for the Les Bleus of France.
Well, I think we don't have time on our side. Otherwise, I would have said some few things about what we're witnessing. This is the Saudi League we are talking about.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. I think this is the Saudi League we are talking about here. The reality is this: if the Saudi League can maintain standard to the level where N'Golo Kante has not lost form, is coming back still to play in Europe, and a man of the match in 2 matches back to back, that tells us that the Saudis are really doing the right thing. Now, from what we have seen clearly, what this implies is this: that very soon the Saudi League will be exporting players to Europe and elsewhere. So if a player who we thought is finished in Nigerian Palace has gone to the Saudi League and is coming back now, is being courted by European league, club sides, that tells us something, that something good and something right is happening in the Saudi League. So I want to believe that N'Golo Kante, if he really wants to come back to mainstream Europe, I think it's an opportunity for him to perhaps, because at some point Barcelona was also interested. At some point, some other clubs are actually interested in him. There is really not much has actually left the young old man. He still has his firepower. So we hope that this is an opportunity for us to see Nigerian league should be improved upon so that we too can be selling players and any foreign exchange, not only oil and other exportable commodities. Our manpower is our biggest strength. I think Nigeria should be heading it there.
Okay, talking about Nigerian league, we see our players going to obscure leagues. Okay, let me not use the obscure league. We've seen our players going to Tanzania, Ethiopia, Sudan. Some of them even playing in Sudan. For Nigerian league, at least we can also hold our own. At least our players, the MPFL players, are going abroad. And then,
well, we want to see Sudanese players come to play in Nigeria. We want to see the Tanzania players come and play in Nigeria. Of course, at some point, we even saw some Brazilians coming. I think Ifeanyi, yes, of course, I saw some Brazilians coming here to say they want to play. In the old good days, you know, I remember now when you talk about Julius Berger, you brought in old memories. I remember when I saw that blue stripe, those players, I mean, it sends me crazy to the stadiums. I mean, that was when the good old days were there. Ranchers B is for crying out loud. I just want to believe that the old days can be replicated. Let us just go back to the drawing board. Let our players be the players that are more sought out elsewhere. And other people should be looking at it to come into our league to play, not leftovers. Because I remember having an issue with a coach in Nigeria, a Premier League coach in Nigeria. He was unveiling players, and I brought in about some players from Benin Republic. I want to believe he must be listening, but hearing what I'm saying now. Yes. And I told him, is it the leftovers of the street of Benin Republic you're bringing up? Are these players even known quantities in Benin Republic? If we want to get players, let us bring players that will add value to our league.
Okay, let us bring players that will add value to our league. Like you mentioned, Ifeanyi brought Rafael Everton from Brazil to come and coach in this country. We also have John Noble, a Ghanaian with Enyimba International. We have a couple of Cameroonian players who also came down to play in the Nigerian Premier Football League. And talking about that, that is where we'll be leaving it on the show. Dan, thanks for joining on the show 360 Sport this morning. It's a wonderful one having you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you so much. And wonderful listeners. Thank you so much.
All right, that is it. We will leave you with an MPFL video, Enyimba against Kano Pillars in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Like I said, the MPFL will kick off on the 31st with just a game. Enugu Rangers against Academy Warriors who open the 2024-2025 season. Enjoy this video. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. Say thanks for watching.
Pilas ta shiga gaba ƙarshen tika ya zama tik abba Adam Musa number 40 jersey of Kano Pillars heading in a cross from Ibrahim Babao. He was introduced in this second half.